Hi, I'm Jeff, and you're here. Before we get started, Black Lives do have and will always matter. There'll be links in the description for you to check out. And just remember, it is our responsibility to protect Black women every single day. Child, let me take my hair out. Alright, now that we're back, today I am presenting my December wrap-up. So, let's go. So first we have The Black Flamingo by Dean Atta. I don't know. Okay, so I like this book. I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. This book is about Michael. He's half Cypriot Greek and half Jamaican, and he's also gay. And he's just it's just the story of like him coming of age, him figuring out exactly where he fits in, because being mixed, it was just very hard for him living in England. There was this one part where he was talking about the stigma that come with him having dreadlocks, but like the reason that he got the dreadlocks was that he could feel closer to his like Jamaican roots. He's just maneuvering what's going on. He gets to college. He is trying out these different clubs and trying out these different organizations to see where he fits in, and it turns out he fits in with the drag community, like the drag club at his school, and they're like planning a performance, and his drag name is the Black Flamingo, which he got from, he was like watching the news with his uncle one time, and the news was just like, oh my gosh, look, all these pink flamingos, and there's this one black flamingo who is just standing out and living his best life, period, which is what he was doing. I think the reason I didn't give this 5 stars was because I wanted them to focus more. I thought that it was going to be more of that as opposed to like a coming of age story, which I'm not sure why I thought that. So yeah, this book was really very good. Next we have Sui Ishida's Tokyo Ghoul Monster Edition. So the first 3 manga. Child, let me give y'all a little breakdown of what's going on. So Kaneki, yeah, that's how they say it in the anime. Kaneki, right? He's with his friend Hide, right, at a cafe, living their best lives, and Ken is like telling Hide, yo, like, this the girl I'm fancying, okay? And this girl is just, you know, reading a book that Ken was just reading, and I was like, oh my god, coincidence. They go on a little date to a little bookstore with that, and I said, oh my god, this is goals, because period. They're walking home, and she tries to eat them because she's a ghoul. Now I'm talking about these ghouls, okay? So these ghouls are like basically zombies who are just roaming Tokyo, and the birds, right? That's what they're called. The doves, right? That's the name of like what they give the police officers. You know how we call them pigs? In the book, they call them doves, which I guess is a really nice name, but I mean also a pigeon, a dove is just a white pigeon, but you ain't here for me argue with your mom's not me. So she's a ghoul. And earlier that day, while they were at the cafe, Hide and Ken are talking about something. Well, we don't know what ghouls look like. You know, they probably ugly, and you know, I don't know why people can't tell when ghouls are around because they probably don't even look like us. Well, girl, he done went on a whole date with a ghoul, and she was like, I'm hungry. And you think I'm cute, so I'm gonna eat you. But she wasn't smart because she's gonna try to get him while they're at like a construction site or whatever. And so something happens. He said, you know what, fight or flight. No violence against women, but baby, she's trying to eat me. Something happens. Some scaffolding falls on her. She dies. He is close to death, but he gets to the hospital in time. They don't know that the girl was a ghoul, but this man needs new kidneys, okay? So they're like, they got the same blood type, because on the date they was talking about blood types, which, I mean, that's not like marriage talk to me, but he needs new organs. And so they're like, you know what, we don't have time to contact her family. She's already dead. Let's give him her organs, okay? Gets her organs. This boy is thinking everything is peachy clean, peachy clean, peaches and cream, yes. And this man is trying to eat his food at the hospital so he could recuperate and get home. He can't eat nothing. Everything's nasty. The fish tastes fishy. The meat tastes gamey. The vegetable tastes like grass. what else did he say? The bread tastes like a wheat sponge or whatever. And he's like, wait. I think that's a sign of being a ghoul, but ain't no way I'm a ghoul because, child, I'm a human. Child, he was a ghoul. So now he's just got to maneuver his life, try to, you know, be okay with being a ghoul and being human. Who, child? And in the cafe that he was at in the beginning with Hide is a cafe where ghouls go and get their human meat. If, you know, if they don't want to kill people, they gotta, they could just go to this cafe. And my cute little grandpa man, he gives them a little package. They eat it. The doves are trying to catch him and his little homies that he done made. He almost kills Hide, girl. This one had 5 stars, baby girl. Cause this, Sui, what is going on? Huh? Ishida-san, what is going on? Because who hurt you, boo? Who hurt you? At this function and junction, pick this up. Period. Now we have The Good Girl by Mary Kubika. Mary. Child. I don't even want to talk about this. I don't even want to talk about this. This follows Mia Dennett. Now Mia is just living her best life. Next thing you know, she gets kidnapped. Okay? And so the kidnapper who kidnaps her for the big boss decides to kidnap her from the big boss and keep her for himself. Colin is like, okay, I'm going to kidnap this girl to bring to, let's name this man Robert, okay? So instead of bringing Mia to Robert, he's like, I'm gonna just take her to a secondary location and now she's mine. I'm like, what is going on here? Cause why are you going to the secondary location with this man? Well, granted, it wasn't her fault. Well, it goes from the mother Eve, her now, and it also goes to Mia's then and now, but Mia's also Chloe, and then there's also Colin's perspective. So it was a little confusing trying to keep all the dates and the people and everything together. But this book, the emotional turmoil, baby, this book, I got to the end and I said, huh? Come again? Child, I would give this 3.5 stars. And it kept me enticed and it kept me going. But it was a little bit confusing trying to keep up with everybody's point of views. All right, baby. I think that I have a Tochi problem. Is it a problem if I'm not willing or able to change? Yes. However, this is a problem that I am okay with having. Ella. Now, Ella, think Black Matilda who can also see the future, okay? Touch somebody and see what they're gonna be when they grow up, if they're gonna be doctors, if they're gonna be nurses. I remember in some part of the book, she was really young and she met this new kid and she like had touched him or whatever, and the next thing you know, she sees him shot a few years later and just laying on the ground. And, you know, like, she can't tell people, like, this is what I'm seeing, and this is because people are going to look at her like, girl, wait. Her mama knows, her brother knows, something happens, and sis disappears. She pulls a number 5 from Umbrella Academy. Remember when he was around and then he accidentally ended up in the future and then came back into the past? That's what she did. She accidentally goes into the future. Well, she needed some time to get herself together because her mom was just like, yo, you need to chill out. You need to be more normal. And she's like, what does that mean? I'm not normal. I gotta go. So poof, she was just in the kitchen and she disappeared for years, honey. Now, Kev is her younger brother who was born around the Rodney King murders in California. The imagery was amazing. They were talking about how when they were leaving the hospital with Kev, everything around her was burned down. Like, everything around the hospital was burned down. Cars, buildings, establishments, everything was burning down. And like the way that Tochi writes, you can see it in your mind, okay? So everything's done burnt. He goes and he gets arrested for, I want to say it was robbery or assault or something. Okay, so Ella comes back and she's telling her brother everything, and she's angry because she goes into the future and she's seeing how black people are being treated, so how they're being treated now, right? And she is just built, like, she just has so much anger and she has so much magic and so much power that she's like, I need to do something. Read this book, okay? This book is a perfect example of the power that comes from pure anger, which a lot of people will tell you, like, it's not good to be angry, especially, you know, like darker skinned black women. We get the stigma of being angry. Black women, we get the stigma of being aggressive and disrespectful, and just like, we're not, as black women, it's like we're not allowed to be angry, right? But in this book, it shows you that not only are you allowed to be angry, but you have a responsibility to be angry, because that's where your power comes from. Your power will come from your anger, because your anger will be intense enough for you to want to change and want to unlock your full potential. And baby, this book was fire. I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. A really short read. It's only like 170 pages, right? 173 pages. I read it. This was a really good adult fantasy book. This is a PSA to Simone St. James. Ma'am, run me my check, or run me a few years of my life that you stole. How about that? Because this book here, y'all, the Sundown Motel, in 1982, Aunt Viv moves to New York. She moves to Fell, New York, which is like this really small city. In my mind, I was thinking like Gravity Falls, Oregon. Cartoon Gravity Falls, because it's small and weird. She finds out that the motel that she was working at, like, people were dying. And she meets a few of the undead, and she starts this investigation about a few people's murders. She's following around this serial killer man. But then Aunt Viv just disappears. Fast forward to 2017, Carly Kirk moves to Fell, New York. She's like, I need to see what's happening. My mama died, and she was the last person who could tell me about Aunt Viv, and even she didn't tell me anything, and I just need to know what really happened, okay? She gets there. She starts working at the same motel, starts seeing the same stuff that Aunt Viv was seeing, and it's the parallels for me. So it's like every other chapter. So it'll be one chapter will be Carly, another chapter will be Viv. She starts seeing the same things that Viv was seeing. She starts investigating the same way that Viv was investigating. And I was just like, honey, boo-boo child, what is going on? And when will my check be cut for this emotional distress? We get to the end, and it's 3 people that they were seeing. So now I'm thinking, while I'm reading the book, we finna see Aunt Viv too. Well, we do see Aunt Viv. I ain't gonna say nothing else. This was 5 stars. Number 6, we have Punching the Air by Ibi Zoboi and Yusuf Salam. Whew. 5 stars. First of all, I read this in like 3.5 hours. It's written in verse, so that's actually not as impressive as it sounds. This book follows, what is this boy's name? This book follows Amal Shahid. He goes to this really prestigious preppy school for art. He's a poet and he's also an artist. Boom, that's why he got arrested. Okay, so now I'm angry because I'm remembering why he got arrested, okay? So I think this white boy kept saying the N-word, and him and his, like, he got beat up. Then somebody goes back with like a skateboard or something and bashes this little white boy's head in. And the white boy ends up in a coma. And so he's in court and he's like, you know, the system's not going to fail me. They're not going to let me down. I didn't do it. Like, I threw the first punch, but this white boy called me a. So what was I supposed to do? Which, you know what? I agree with 100%. Like, them's is fighting words, period, okay? He's like, I didn't do it though. I didn't kill him. Like, I don't know who went back and hit him over the head. He's a black boy. What you supposed to? Obviously, we know what's going to happen. He gets charged and sentenced to life in prison. And he's in prison. Of course, he's angry. He's upset. He doesn't know what to do. But he uses his art and he uses his poetry in order to find some kind of hope in this really distressing situation. This little white boy is still in his coma, so he can't say anything. So even though he's telling people he didn't do it, it's like, until this little boy wakes up, either he's gonna wake up and tell the truth, or he's gonna die, and you're really gonna be in there, child. So yeah, he's just finding hope, and he's using his gifts and his talents to give not only himself a little bit of hope and comfort, but he's also helping the other inmates, some of his friends, find that hope and comfort as well. This book was beautifully written. Y'all already know how I feel about Ibi Zoboi and her writing. She is one of my favorite writers of this year, probably of all time. And Yusuf Salaam is one of the Central Park Five. Later got exonerated. I even read the acknowledgments of both Ibi and Yusuf, like, because that's how much I didn't want this book to end.
Five board across the stars. What are you saying? 5
stars across the board. I really like this book, and this probably I would read this again. I would make this a book club book. Last but not least, we have Kim Johnson's This Is My America. 5 stars. If I could give this 6 stars, I would. This book follows Tracy Dion. Her father is in jail for life for a crime he did not commit. He has like 250 days left before he is put to death. And every day she's written letters to this nonprofit organization, Innocence X, so that they would take his case and hopefully get it retried, because he's innocent. Like, he went to trial. He had so many alibis. So many people in the community spoke for him. And the judge was like, electric chair. She's like, all right, no, what we're not going to do is play with my father's life. Meanwhile, her brother Jamal, was that firecrackers or a gunshot? Gets caught up with this white girl. She ends up dead. And now he's on the run. Tracy has to get Jamal back and keep him alive if he ever does come back, on top of trying to get her daddy out of jail. Meanwhile, she's dealing with all the racism around, like, where she's living in Texas. The KKK is involved. She has this white friend named Dean who is actually really racist. Like, he has a lot of racist ideals. There's this one part where he's like, I want to apologize, and she's like, for what? And he's like, I know Jamal. They ran track together. They grew up together. And so he's like, I shouldn't have doubted him, but when the news first came, was first playing what was going on, my first thought was, how could he do that? Not, he's innocent. And then he goes on to say that it wasn't until I saw you the next day coming out of that courthouse all upset and stuff that my mentality shifted from how could he do that to I know he didn't do that. And she was looking at him like, you've known us for forever. Like, you're my homie. Like, we rock together. You know us. And he's like, yeah, I know y'all, but it was just a spur of the moment. Like, that was just my first thought. That was my initial thought. And she goes, yeah, that's the problem. And I said, ooh, Quincy's involved, because Quincy and Jamal were friends. Quincy's father gets killed in response to the case against his father and Tracy's father, because they were both accused of killing this white man, right? Quincy's father was either killed like in the streets, or he just had got an earlier execution sentence. Either way, his father dies. Quincy has come through for Tracy time and time and time again, child. When I tell you, outburst after outburst after outburst. Because this is slow in the beginning. It's following an investigation, so it's slow in the beginning, but then, baby, it picks up. And I was just like, what is going on? And they talk about the corrupt police force where they're from. I said that this probably was going to be one of my favorite books, and baby, I am not wrong. This book was so good. Kim Johnson, years of my life, I'd like them back. Please send them in an email. Thank you. That's it. I only read 7 books this month. Alright, y'all, that's all I have for you for today. I have to go because I have more books to read. But as always, I will see you seeing me in the next one. Bye.